Hello, before this starts, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. Hello, YouTube. I'm going to be going over a more common aspect of making maps and stuff in with commands. And how I'm going to be doing that is I'm going to be using the execute command. This command has a lot of stuff you can do. Like, it's one of the most used commands in, like, maps and stuff like that. I'm going to show you how to use it, how it works, and some cool little tricks with it. And I'm going to get over right now what it does. So all the execute does is it can run, like it changes who's running it or what the runner is doing. It's a lot of stuff. It'd be kind of hard to go over it. So I'm going to just kind of show you instead. So if I go in my chat and I type /summon and I do summon and I do arrow, I can't type arrow, then it will spawn an arrow at my feet's location, because that's where the game thinks you are. Your game thinks you're at your feet. So spawns an arrow there. And if I go into a command block and I do summon arrow, and I go in here, and if I put a button on there, and I right click, the arrow is getting summoned. It's just getting summoned inside of, I can't, nope. Yeah, if I turn on my hitboxes, you can see that's the arrow's hitbox. It's just getting summoned inside of the block because it's summoning at the block and the block is like in there. You see how the blocks? So that's what it is. I'm also going to show you another thing that I've just kind of failed to show you, but it's essential for making command block series, like command block stuff. I'm going to show you the tilde, not tilde, like this squiggly line. I don't know what this would be called. I'm going to go over that really quickly right now before we get too deep into the video. If I wanted to, like, teleport to something one block above my head, the way I would do that is I would go TP, and then I'd go the player that I want to TP, like the player, and then I would go, not TP, wait, /summon, my bad, and then if I type the thing I would want, like AKA I would want to do arrow, so then it would give me a few tildes. It gives you these tildes when you're not looking at a block. All this is your coordinates. The person that executes the command. The same person that would say /say hi, it would be Sailor Moon. It's this player, the person running the command. Because if I run that in a command block, it would say command block hi, or like whatever the command block would be called. And something cool you can do with these kind of positions. You may think, okay, that's cool, but if I just summoned it without these, it would do the same thing. And you would be correct. If I summon without it, it would spawn at the same position, same way as if I did have it. But the cool thing about those arrows is you can change stuff. So if I go here and I go to the center one, and as we know, the center one's up and down. If I go 2, right next to the center one, so it's that thing, that like our Y, and then 2, it will spawn 2 blocks up. That's pretty cool, pretty neat. It can spawn 2 blocks up. You can change this as much as you want. There's almost no limit. There's a limit, but it's like really high. You can do 10 blocks up, and now it spawns quite high up. Like you can see how it falls from a really kind of high spot. So that's quickly the tilde keys. Back to what I was doing for my main video. I'm going to go the execute command. So if I wanted to teleport something to, if I run, hold on. Okay, so if I run /summon right here, and then I do arrow, and then, not, actually, you know what, armor stand works. Then I do tilde, and I go 1 up. It spawns the armor stand at my head, because it's 1 up from my feet, which would be my head. And if I go into an armor stand, and I paste that command in there, because I don't feel like retyping it, because I'm lazy, I'm not going to lie. So if I do that here, it will just spawn it in the same position as if the command block did that, typed that, I mean, like a slash. But what if I want to do that at a armor stand? What if I want to summon it at an armor stand, or like a block above an armor stand? That would be where you would use the execute command. Execute has a lot of stuff you can do with it. I'm going to just talk about the execute at and facing and as. Those are the 3 things I'm going to go at. So if I wanted to do it, I do execute. I would run this thing, and you can see there's a few things, like there's as, at, anchored, align, facing. All this is relatively self-explanatory. There's some that is a little bit harder, but as, execute as, and then I can choose a player. So I could do Sailor Moon, run. So what run is it makes the next word be a command, like as if this didn't exist. You could type anything here, like scoreboard or schedule, you can type anything that you could type there here. It's the same thing as a command. So if I do say right here, and then I say hi, and if I come over here, I'm going to do this really quickly again, and I'm going to do say hi. So this one's as Sailor Moon, run say hi. This one's as a command block, say hi. It doesn't say as a command block, but the command block's what's running the command. So it's a command block saying hi. So if I click this button right here, Sailor Moon said hi. If I click this button right here, it's the @ which is just unidentified. Apparently that's what happens when a command block runs a command. So, as you can probably guess, any command that's run here runs the same as if I ran it in chat. Just automatic and through a command block. So you can do a ton of things. So I can summon, I can do run, summon, okay, that would summon, sorry, summon, and then I can do arrow, and then I can do tilde, 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 and then make it like 3 blocks up. Not what I meant to do, tilde 3. Oh, you can also replace like any of these numbers, like if I wanted to spawn at only this coordinate, that works. But most of the occasions you'll just use this. So 3 blocks up from my location. If I press this button, it doesn't work. And there's a really good reason why. You're thinking it's running as Sailor Moon, but it still seemed to spawn the arrow 3 blocks up from the command block. There's something else you gotta do. You would have to go into like before as or after the Sailor Moon, after like the player name. So you can go here and you can do @. This lets you run at any mob you want, as any mob you want. So you can run it as an arrow at a player. An arrow can run the command, and then you can have it at a player's position too. But in this case, I'm going to have it as Sailor Moon at Sailor Moon. So it's running almost identical to me, as I would. And now that I run it at me, it spawns here. And it spawns there consistently, and nothing's broken. And if I remove the @ or if I remove the as, and I get rid of the as, so it's only execute at Sailor Moon, it will work the same. For summoning positions and stuff along that lines, most of the occasion, you will not need to do it as the player. But if I come in here now, and I get rid of this, all of this, and I do run, say hi, it runs as the command block, just at my position. So it imagines the command block's right at my feet. Like I'm inside of the command block. That's how it imagines when I do @. And when I do as, it runs as me, but right here. Like I type it, but my positions are in this coordinate. That's the simplified execute. You can also do facing, which just makes me face a certain direction, or like a direction of an armor stand. It runs as if I'm facing that way. Or you can do, like if I do execute, you can do facing, and you can do in, like in a boat or something, or on. Couple things you can do. Here, I'll show you run. You can do run. Actually, no, run's a little bit too complicated. That's a simplified of execute, though. You can do, like, as a player or at a position, and it works just fine. You can do rotated, so it looks like I'm rotated. You can do positioned, so it's as, but, like, rather than as an entity, it's at a position. There's a ton of stuff you can do. This is really helpful. This is what lets me do my, like, report system. Like, I'm currently making an Among Us map, and I have a report system that whenever a player is killed, it, like, checks the player and runs as the player and does some other data stuff. This has a lot of uses and a lot of stuff you can do with that. I'm going to go into depth on this. This is a beginner guide, by the way. If you guys didn't know, this is a beginner guide. I'm going to go slightly over everything. And then later on, I'm going to go into depth on everything and explain the stuff that you probably missed while making your first playthrough. I encourage you, if you've been watched this entire series from my first video to here, I would recommend for you to get out and mess with some of the stuff before you forget it. Make something that teleports, on a button press, it teleports an armor stand to the player's position, and then 10 seconds later, it executes as the player and teleports player to armor stand. Have that. Try that. So it's like a flashback. You use it, you run, you hit, and then after a few seconds, it teleports you back. You'd have to use redstone for the wait a few seconds, but I believe you guys got that. Try to mess around with that. Do something like that. Have fun. like mess around, try to do stuff, fail, do stuff. That's the entire point of command blocks. You do stuff, and if you do it wrong, you do it better next time. I encourage you to build stuff. Have fun. That's it for this episode. I kind of made this one short and easy because I'm going to be getting into more in-depth stuff in the future. So I better get over the easy stuff because I'd consider this easy.